What is up, guys? It is the Sportster Brad Walker, and welcome inside the Walker Report, part of In the Zone Sports Radio. Guys, if you have noticed that I was not here the last few weeks, if you do not know, if you don't follow me on Facebook, I lost my mom on January 30th. She passed away unexpectedly. It was not expected. This is not something that I was ready for anything like that. Nothing around those lines or anything like that. But thank you guys for being patient with me over the last few weeks of not being here, not being on the podcast, and writing as well. I am back to doing all of that this week. Guys, if you want some In the Zone gear, head on over to squadlocker.com, type in the Zone Sports Talk Radio, and you could go ahead and get your order your In the Zone sports gear. That is a cool after holiday type gift, or you got Valentine's Day coming up. If you want to get something for your significant other or anything like that, you can do that. I am also sponsored by CreatingZenSpaces.com. It's the local choice in St. Petersburg, Florida, for house cleaning organization decluttering and pet sitting. It's all about finding peace within you and adding comfort to your life. Remember, guys, Zen Spaces begins with you. Be kind to yourself and one another. And guys, if you do not happen to catch this show live, and it's live on Facebook, I have a YouTube channel called The Sports Nerd Brad Walker. Head on over there. All of the episodes of this show and the Sunshine State Sports Jabber will be on there in its entirety. Yes, they will be all over there in case you guys are wondering about that. Let me go ahead, guys, and bring on one of my co-hosts. Adam is here, so let me go ahead and bring him on. What's going on, buddy?
How's it doing, Brad?
I've been better, buddy. I've been better.
I feel that. I want to, before we get this thing going, a dirty face tonight, I want to wish my heartfelt and deepest condolences to you and yours.
I appreciate that, but I've had my moments. Like I said,
yeah.
Man, real quick, guy, I hope I don't – I'm going to get emotional here in a few seconds. My mom always loved this show every week. She liked to hear you talk. She used to tell me all the time. She goes, I like that kid Adam from Tennessee. And this was the show that she liked to listen to. Because like I said, the wall, but I mean, I'm back, buddy, where I was before. So if you see me turn my head that way, I have more going back the way I was.
Okay, I got you.
I'm still working on the pixels. Obviously, I have my camera plugged in. You can still see I got pixels, so I got to work on. I think that's the
lighting. The lighting is pretty awful. Your face is all blown out. I would turn the light off if you can reach up there and turn it out.
How about that right there? Is that a little bit better?
That's a bit better, yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can turn.
Kind of look like a skinwalker or something like that. That's much better there.
Okay. Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone that reached out to me by calling me, texting me, sending me cards on Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, massive
I didn't
appreciation to it.
I did want to reach out and say, hey, thinking about you, let you know that, if you need me, you just pick up the phone.
Yeah, no, yeah, man, I appreciate that, but I do. I mean, obviously I got some rough days ahead of me.
Yeah. It's going to be a long time. Take time for yourself. Don't be afraid to find some place and just break down and let it all out. It'll feel better.
There's Lewis. What's up, guys? Yeah.
Hey, Lou.
I mean,
how are you?
I'm doing all right, Lewis. How are you?
Okay. Just glad you're okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was shocking. Like I said, my mom had issues with breathing. And, again, you just don't think anything. You don't think the worst. You don't want to think,
No, you can't.
That's going to happen. And, and also, too, the people that told you that you can prepare for a loved one to die is absolutely full of shit. And I'm going to say that because you cannot prepare yourself for anything of what I went through a couple weekends ago. There's nothing that can prepare you for that. Zero.
It's one thing. It's one thing if you have a chance to say goodbye.
Right.
If you it's inevitable, and you get a chance to say, "Hey, I love you," and you know, it's okay. You can go ahead.
Right.
That's one way where you can deal with it. But when it's all of a sudden like that, there's nothing.
No.
Yeah.
And it'll never be okay ever again.
I mean, I guess if there's any bright line in it, the doctors did tell us that there was no pain. So she did go quickly. So there was no suffering or anything like that.
Was she? Can I ask how old she was?
She was only 64. She was still
64,
young.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was like I said. I'll find out. We had her cremated. I'll find out.
Yeah.
Hopefully next week we get the ashes back, so I'll find out what the actual cause of death was.
Yes. Okay.
Do you have siblings?
I do. I have one sister. I do.
Okay, so makes it.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you guys. It didn't really kind of hit reality until she got to the hospital, and then that's when it hit me the hardest. She got sick. Yeah.
Yeah. Mom's not coming home anymore.
I don't know if they'll see you.
Yeah, I mean,
not to be morbid or anything. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay,
Bradley.
Bradley,
Okay.
this is Lou's mom. I'm very sorry to hear about your mom.
Oh, I appreciate that, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah,
Very, very sorry.
I wish I could have her back, but I do appreciate it. Thank you for the condolences.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
We
can't see you.
Yeah.
Your audio's spotty, Brad.
Is it spotty?
Yeah.
I thought it was mine.
I don't know if my internet is going out or what.
Sounds like your mic's all messed up. Unless it's on my end here.
Okay, now?
So, roboting. It may be the internet.
Okay, yeah, it might be that. All right. Well,
that's better. There we go.
Okay, cool. Let me go ahead, guys. Ben, thanks again, guys, for the. We can talk about my mom throughout the show too, if you want to, because it always it helps me, with the grieving process to talk about it to people.
Yeah. I just wanted to thank you guys for the birthday wishes and everybody out there.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Another
when
day
was it again?
What?
I'm sorry?
What's that?
When was your birthday again?
The 6th. It was Saturday. Last Saturday.
February 6th.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
1992. So this is a legal beer.
Yes.
Well, funny thing is, if it wasn't legal, he's been drinking beer for the last 2 months. We'd be in deep trouble. We have we're having minors on our show drinking alcohol on our show broadcast. That's hilarious.
Oh yeah,
that's hilarious.
It's not alcoholic beer. It'd be all right.
Tap water.
I mean, you might as well drink regular beer if that's the case. I mean, I don't drink at all, but I'm just saying you might as well just drink regular beer. So that non-alcoholic stuff. Yeah. No way. Yeah. Well, I mean, guys, we can.
Shall we start the show then?
Yeah, we could talk about the Rumble that just happened, the WWE. So here are the matches. Like I just highlighted the matches.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Notes. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defeated Charlotte Flair and Asuka to win the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. So that's interesting. Those two have been, again, I don't know too much. I'd have to bring on John Blaine, my WWE guy, to do the whole story and all that. I figure, guys, as we get closer to WrestleMania, which is a couple months away, if I'm not going for media coverage, I'll have him come on that Thursday before, and we can talk to him because he knows
it's a lot of fun.
He's got all the inside on that stuff.
The inside track, as it were.
Inside track, yeah. You had Drew McIntyre retain his WWE Championship over Goldberg, which I'm not shocked about that. I don't think the WWE put Goldberg.
I'm disappointed, but shocked now.
What time was this on anyway?
This, I think, was a couple weeks ago, Lewis. I think reviews a couple Sundays ago. I want to say Sunday.
I think it was 2 Sundays ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I want to say
Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay, because I thought it was last Saturday because I was keeping my eye on the Duke, North Carolina game.
Anybody gonna make a move? Or Amarola got this thing.
That's
even in a season like this. Come on, that is the rivalry in college basketball. But
it really is.
I'll go into more than that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I agree with you on that one. Sasha Banks kept her title, SmackDown Women's title over Carmella. Again, that's not shocking that they're keeping Sasha Banks. But funny feeling they're going to put her and Bayley against each other at WrestleMania. I think that's going to be the match that for them. Bianca Belair, who I don't know who she is, she won the Royal Rumble match for the women's division. Roman Reigns defeated Kevin Owens and kept his Universal Championship. And Edge won the Royal Rumble match. So now he has a chance to challenge either Roman Reigns or Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. So it's up to him which opponent he wants to choose. But then you also have, what's his name? What the heck is his name now? I can't remember. The guy that won Money in the Bank. Again, I don't follow WWE.
Edge won Money in the Bank.
No. Miz, the Miz.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought it was.
So, yeah, he came out and on SmackDown or Raw, I forget which one he's on. Oh, you remember I have the title. As soon as you win it from Drew or from Roman Reigns, I'm gonna cash it in and win it and walk out of WrestleMania. So it's kind of dumb that he let everyone know what his plans are, because now you just got to watch over your back and hope that you don't have too much of a beating against whoever you face. So that, yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. I just happened to see that. I know it was a couple weeks ago, but I was just trying to get something covered for the WWE. But we can now move on.
Audio's gone and out again.
Back again, yeah. I must be having internet issues. Talk about the Daytona 500, which is happening on a Sunday.
Sunday. Yep.
Sunday.
No.
Sunday. I got the article there about so it's been 20 years since Dale Jr. died at Daytona.
Yes.
That's and how the technological advances have happened.
Yeah.
Since he passed away with the.
Where were you when that happened? Well,
Me?
I know you're kind of young, Bradley, but you weren't born yet, I don't think. But where were you, Bradley, when that happened? Because I remember where I was.
I remember exactly where I was.
My mom babysitted kids for a living, and we were over at one of her kids' grandmother's house watching the race on TV, and the kid was actually coming to stay the night with us. We were babysitting because his grandmother was going out of town, and I heard about when the crash happened. And again, it's just like when Kobe died. It's like you can't believe it. It's like, yeah, no, that's not, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's there.
Well,
it's like this actually happened. So yes.
Well, okay, because I'll tell you, it was in February, an unusually warm day in February here in this part. But when we were in a restaurant and they had the sets on the bottom, like we were looking at like, oh my goodness, this is awful.
Yeah.
Her dying in the crash. I'm like, I was just in shock. I remember when I saw it actually happening. It's like that was very devastating.
Yeah, I was 9.
Yeah, well, I've already been all grown up by then, but to see something like that happening, I mean, it's not unusual to see, cars crashing in a race. Of course not. But to have somebody die from that is extremely rare, even despite all the crashes that you get in races. And to see that was just very hard to watch.
Yeah, I can't watch it without crying. I weep like a child every time I watch it. Any tributes, any memorials. I'll break down. We had just moved into the new house. So I hadn't even been there a year yet. No, we hadn't quite been there a year yet because we moved in 2000. That was February 2001. And we were watching on TV, of course, because obviously we weren't there. And, coming out of 4, and he goes low and he comes back up the track and he hits the wall and you don't, after Stewart's flip earlier in the race, they put it under the red flag. You don't, and Stewart gets out of the car and walks away. You don't think that it's going to get Dale. It can't get Dale. Not Dale.
Sure.
He's the best who ever done it. And, you'd think, well, okay, he's hurt. They'll take him to the hospital and, he'll be all right. and a couple hours go by, and they actually brought it back on regular Fox, and Mike Helton makes the announcement, and it was like the end of the world. It was like a bomb went off. Everyone was just dumbstruck. Nobody knew what to do next.
No.
And now, looking at it, 20 years later, in the testament to safety, in Ryan Newman's horrific flip last year, and Brad's Monday show, because the race got moved to Monday night. The first and only caller on that show, right?
Now there has been another caller. I actually had Shane Matthews on recently. Shane Matthews was the first interview I did. So yeah, you were the very first caller of mine. Yeah.
And getting on there and having this, and being in such a different position than I was 20 years ago when we lost Dale. And getting on there and telling Brad, hey, this is bad. This is really bad. I don't know. This is major. This is serious. And wondering and worrying and waiting. And then Tuesday morning, he walks to the hospital like nothing happened.
Yeah.
No, seemingly no worse for wear. And then, of course, we all know what happened after that. And then 6 weeks later, he's back in the race car. When they fire him back up after the pandemic break, he's back in the race car, doing it again. And doesn't, no one says, it's like it never even happened. Like he wasn't inches from death, and it's an incredible testament. I only glanced at the article. I didn't have a chance to read it because I kind of forgot, but that's on me. It is a monument to the Earnhardt legacy, and you have to think about the Earnhardt legacy and what it would have been. That to me is NASCAR's biggest what if. What if Dale doesn't die? What if Dale survives? And how, because everybody thinks about him, of course he died in the accident, right? And everyone knows about the skull fracture, the base of your skull fracture, when your head comes forward and snaps back. And it basically extreme whiplash, if you will, and it severs the spine. Well, he had the severed spine, but he also had rib injuries. He had a broken wrist, and I believe a broken collarbone. And he may have broken his foot or a bone in his leg. So he had serious injuries on top of the skull fracture, and it would have put him out of the car for a long time. You're looking at months of rehab and reconditioning. It may have been career ending. And it was such a pedestrian looking incident. If you look at it in 2001 as it's happening, not knowing what happens next, if you're watching it fresh with untainted eyes, without the feature of hindsight, it looks like a pretty pedestrian. It goes up the track, hits the wall, comes back down, and it was just the angle of the hit was so severe. He hit that wall at the perfect angle to take his life. Had he hit more forward, he'd have been fine. Had he hit more side on, he'd have been fine. But he hit it at such the angle was so severe that his head went forward, and when it came back, it was fatal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now with the morbidity out of the way, I'm gonna drink more beer.
Well, I mean, that's just like when Kobe died. It's just like when a pillar of a sport dies.
Yeah.
Like Muhammad Ali and Gordie Howe. It's just like when you have guys that built the sport and they go away. It's like the whole world, not just the fans of that particular brand of sports. I think the whole sports world is shocked. I still hearing today again. I did not know it was the 20th anniversary of him passing away. That's how fast time goes by. I mean,
it really does.
He died the same year of 9/11 because this September 11th will be 20 years.
Yeah,
that tragedy happened in September. And I'm hoping, me personally, to be at the Raymond James Stadium to watch USF play Florida. That would be awesome. But I'm, that way.
If I may piggyback on what you're saying there, but the Muhammad Ali's death didn't change. Isn't going to change boxing.
No, right.
The death of Kobe Bryant, it might change aviation, but it's not going to affect the world of boxing or
Correct.
basketball.
But
No.
Gordon house passing, it's big for hockey, but it's not going to change the sport of hockey.
Yeah.
Dale Earnhardt's death directly led to the life-saving futures that probably, in all honesty, saved Sterling Marlin's life a year later at Kansas.
Yes.
It was 2002. It was the fall Kansas race. He was on his way to a championship. He had the thing in the bag. All he had to do was start the rest of the races and finish 43rd, and he was pretty much guaranteed the title.
Only 43rd?
And he what's that?
Only 43rd. I mean, that's kind of like a low ranking, isn't it?
That at the time, 43rd was dead last. Was the last
See what I mean?
spot on the track.
Yeah.
And I'm exaggerating to a severe degree. There was like 10 or 15 races left when he had his accident.
All right.
And he ended up with a concussion, and he ended up missing the rest of the year, and he ended up losing the title. But this the difference. The difference a year makes. Had that have happened a year earlier, let's say, or 2 years even, we could be talking about Sterling Marlin. It being the 20th anniversary of Sterling Marlin, and the reason why. If you want to really watch a really interesting, it's about an hour long. It's on YouTube. It's called 3 Before February. It highlights Adam Petty,
Richard's boy?
Kenny Irwin, and there was a third one who I can't remember his name now. But it's by Brock Beard. If you want to check, that's 3 Before February. It's the three. They all died in '99. They all died from racing crashes before in '99. I'm gonna look it up because it's gonna drive me freaking crazy.
Yeah.
And then each one of their deaths was due to Blazier skull fracture.
Petty, that's Richard's boy, isn't it?
Kyle, Richard's grandson.
Oh.
Yeah, Richard's grandson, Lee's great grandson.
See, there's something that you don't think about. You don't think that when you're racing a car that you would die from the skull fracture. That's like something that you don't think would be something that would be.
And the third one was Tony Roper. They all died leading up to the 2008 NASCAR season, and they all died of Blazier skull fracture. And they all probably could have been saved by the Hans device, the head and neck restraint. Because if you ever see a guy get out of his suit or get out of his car and take off that thing from around it, that's the Hans device. It's connected to your seat, and in the event of a head-on collision, it pins you into the seat and keeps you from rocking forward in such a violent way.
Right.
So to prevent the head and neck from flying forward.
I mean, you don't even see that happening with football with all the fractures they have, and you have this. So
and with as violent as a sport as football is, there's never been an on-field death due to contact.
No.
There's been a couple of people that have had some heart conditions that have passed away during training camps and that. But nothing due directly to the game, and then back to that was my point about the other stars we've lost in other sports. Is like their deaths haven't contributed to the safety of the sport, making the sport a more. Could you imagine Gretzky taking a slap shot to the face and being done, dead, gone, no more?
Well, I can imagine taking a slap shot to the face now and that, but not dying from it.
Right. I mean, Yzerman back in 04, 05. Took a puck to the face, lost a full season, and practically ended his career. I think that was actually 03. Ended his career, and he played another 40 games the rest of his career for another 3.5 years before he finally retired because of the eye fractures. But it didn't kill him. It wasn't, didn't change the sport. No. The NHL didn't start mandating, visors for everyone, full face shields.
Yeah.
I mean, and of course they started mandating full face shields in NASCAR after Dale's death.
Right.
one of the things that they believed was that his face, he actually came forward and hit the steering wheel, and that led to it contributed to his injuries, and may have been a contributing factor in his death. And they believe that had he been wearing a full helmet, that he might have survived even without the Hans device.
Safety first, people. Safety.
Yeah. And so what ended up happening is later on that year in an ARCA race, Blaise Alexander ended up losing his life in a crash. And that was the one that's when NASCAR finally stepped in and said every NASCAR sanctioned race with any NASCAR equipment, any NASCAR stickers, anything to do with NASCAR, every driver up and down the pit road has to wear Hans device.
Yeah.
From this moment on. And it doesn't matter. A lot of the drivers had started wearing, but there were a couple of holdouts that still didn't wear the Hans device.
Right.
And that was the death nail. That was the final nail in the coffin, if to be morbid.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks that you have to see drivers die.
Yeah.
Things like that.
But the thing about being a race car driver is that it's Russian roulette every week. You know you've got a loaded chamber. And if you think about it too long, you're shoving yourself into 3,400 pounds of steel and plastic. You're setting a 22 gallons worth of highly flammable liquid on fire.
Right.
You're propelling yourself at speeds in excess of 200 miles an hour at certain tracks. Hurtling towards certain death. If you think about it for too long, it sits in the back of your mind. Yes. You're like, this one could be the one that gets me. And if you think like that, you're done. You can't race anymore because it's too much. So you don't think about it. You push it down. You put it out of your mind. You say, I'm just going to go get in the car and I'm going to go do my job. I'm going to make a shit ton of money. And you think about it. The guy that finishes last makes more than we do in an entire year. You make one start, you finish last, you make more money than most people make in an entire year.
Now that's sick.
I wouldn't. I could be sick for 36.
I don't mean that in a literal sense.
I mean, you can look. I mean, the movie Days of Thunder was exactly that way. He got in an accident and he was afraid to get back in the car because he thought, when's this going to happen to me again? Yeah.
And you just got to push it down. You can't sit there and think about it. It's amazing that the other 42 guys that were in that Daytona race.
Yeah.
And the rest of them, there were, let's see, because that was the fourth year of the trucks running Daytona. So you think there's another 30 guys there and another 30, 35 guys in the then Busch series, 40 guys. And you think there's 80 guys that are going to do this again next week. Happily, willingly, right? Yeah, across all three major NASCAR brands.
Okay.
The Truck Series, the then Busch Series, now Xfinity Series, the Cup Series.
Okay, I was going to say 80 drivers. That's a little too crowded, I think, for one race.
Yeah, it would be. But we're talking about all three. You're watching your biggest guy pass away in the biggest event of the year, and then the next week you just got to put it out of your mind, put your helmet back on, and go back to work. I mean, could you imagine I don't know what you guys, I know, Brad, I don't want to say anything out of turn but could you imagine if you worked in a factory watching your plant manager get his head taken off by a milling machine, and then everybody everybody go home, right? And you come back the next week and you got to turn everything back on and just do it all again because it's what you do.
Right.
And to go back to this is going to be one of them streams.
Right.
But well,
how many minutes you open though?
Just one so far. Maybe I should have
just
another
one.
one.
Oh, okay. I try to keep the windows down because that's what ruined us up my other shows. If I can keep the windows down to like one or two, I'm gonna come in a lot better. And so far, I have.
Yeah, this is just the first one. It is empty, but
hey, Miller Lite.
It is empty, but it's not quite all the way gone.
Be a sponsor. Come on, Miller Lite sponsor.
Yeah. Not a sponsor, but we're taking calls. Anybody? We're taking calls from anybody. So that's kind of just my thoughts on that.
I mean, do you guys want to talk about the odds of the
Oh,
drivers?
I do.
Yeah. I mean, you got any favorites?
Who's won it twice? I guess there's never been a 3-time champion.
Nope, no one's ever repeated.
To my knowledge.
Okay.
I ran. Excuse me. I don't mean to be. I ran the numbers. There were a couple of outliers, which I actually included, but I didn't. Over the last 10 years, the average starting position of the eventual race winner has been 15.4. So mid pack. I'm not, and of course we won't know until the first duel just ended about 15-20 minutes ago. The second duel won't be over for another hour, so we won't have a full field rundown until later on this evening.
I thought it was all in the time trials. I thought that's when they determined it.
Time trials. That's the uniqueness of the Daytona 500. Is the time trials set the starting row, and that's it.
Because it takes the
first
pole.
and second. First and second. The front row is set by speed.
Right.
And then on Thursday, it used to be in the afternoon before Daytona had lights. There were two back in the day originally when I first started watching 20 years ago.
Back in my youth.
Two 125-mile qualifying races.
Yes.
Determined to set the rest of the field. The first qualifying race sets the outside lane. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on and so forth. So the outside row, actually, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. The first race sets the inside line. I'm sorry. I had it backwards. It's 1, 3. All the odd number cars go out first. And then the second race, all the even cars go out. And that determines, and then if everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, number one, the first 2 spots are locked in, the pole and the pole and the outside pole. And if they both make it through the race without any incident, they will get no matter where they finish, they start on the pole and the outside pole. And then as long as they don't have any issues in post-race inspection or during the rest of the weekend, they keep their starting spot. And then everyone else is seated, and it's a chance to move up. You could qualify 26th and end up starting 4th or 3rd, depending on which race you went out.
I never understood that really on how that gets all determined, but I think I get an understanding now.
It was just something special to make the race more important because it's the biggest race of the year.
Now, I gotta make a comment about that. You're saying it's the biggest race of the year. I beg to differ a little bit, Adam, because I always thought No. I need to stop you there. I don't mean to cut you off, but I do mean to cut you off. It's the most important NASCAR race. It's NASCAR's biggest race of the year. Okay.
NASCAR's biggest race of the year.
Okay.
The Indy 500 is of course, and then there's Sebring and Monaco. Those races are very important. They're very big races. But the Daytona 500 is the Super Bowl of NASCAR. It's the most important race of the year for NASCAR.
For them.
Yeah.
And
I do apologize for cutting you off, but
no, I get it, because I've talked this with Bradley, I think, before, and a few other people, because we always get in this argument or discussion every year, like what race I think is more your partner prestigious. Thank you.
Yeah.
Prestigious. And I always thought it was Indianapolis. I always did. But I guess it depends on what league you're following.
And like the super sports cars had their biggest weekend last weekend with IMSA, or the 24 Hours of Daytona.
Yeah.
And then there's 24 Hours Le Mans, 12 Hours of Sebring. Yeah. There's a lot of important races. And there's no one race that you can say is the most important race of all of motorsports, because there's people that like Isle of Man, the superbike races. There's Baja trucks, and I mean, I'm sure Johnny's gonna fire up the lawnmower on Friday and take a couple laps around the house, and they're out there drinking a couple of ginger ales, as Mickey might say.
Only a couple?
Only a couple. One or two.
Save what you drink for me, please.
Yeah. Cases, couple.
Yeah. Yeah,
Couple
they
two,
keep
three.
the Canada Dry Bowl. Yeah,
Yeah. Couple Canada Dries,
Dry Bowl. I'll take.
So on a more serious note, as serious as this show gets, I don't really. Daytona is such a crapshoot. There's no one there. There's no one clear favorite. Of course, Denny Hamlin is odds-on favorite to win the thing. He's won 2 in a row, won 3 overall. Looking for a 4th win. Would be 3rd or 4th all time for most Daytona 500 wins. Only behind, I think, Petty at this point would be the only one he's behind. And maybe because I think Gordon only has 3, so he'd pass Gordon.
Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was doing research as much research as I normally do for this show. Aside from what Bradley sends me.
And me.
Yeah. I thought you were more homework than research, but hey.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I was just looking at I was looking at the list of winners because I was trying to figure out where to tell people to bet what lines to bet, and I think I would look for the middle of the pack, 15th, somewhere in there. Really, Daytona. What happens is you of course you have to have a fast race car. I know as I was watching the Fox broadcast on Wednesday afternoon, they were doing a little bit of practice. So the first practice they've had in almost a year with the pandemic and everything. Mm-hmm. And Clinton Boyer was saying that you got to have a good handling race car.
You better.
And Daytona is so underrated for its ability, for the necessity of having a good handling race car. A lot of people think that, especially people that don't follow the sport on a regular basis, they think that you just go fast. You just go fast. It's all about going fast.
No.
And you've got to have a car, you get 3 and 4. You could have a car here. Let me see if I can get my hand. You have a car here. You have a car here. You have a car here. You have a car here, and here. You've got 7 cars all around you.
Wow.
And you're going to, and of course they're going to funnel down. And when you go off into the corner, and if you're in the outside lane, you want to be able to hug the wall and stay high. You don't want the car. Daytona is really bumpy, and there's a lot of bumps and the track is uneven. And even though it was repaved like about 10 years ago, it's become a very worn surface in terms of a racetrack. And when you get the car to set, you want the car as low as possible down on the ground. You want to be able to set it into in the corner, and it all depends on your driver's personal style, but for me, when I'm playing the video games, which I like to do, I like a car. I like to be able to take a handful of steering wheel, turn it hard to the left, and drive it right down to the yellow line. I want to be able to take the car, handful of wheel, turn it right down to the bottom, and just hug the bottom all the way around. That's what I like in a race car, especially at Daytona and Talladega. I like a car that I can take it right to the bottom, right to the yellow line, and just hold it there and keep it wide open the whole way around. Other guys, they want a more loose race car or a car that they're able to go back and forth with, slide up, slide down. I like a car you can turn it right down to the bottom and just keep it right there on the yellow line. Keep that out of bounds. Because at Daytona and Talladega, unlike other tracks that we raced at, there is an out of bounds line.
And he made the Garden State Parkway here in New Jersey look like a picnic during rush hour.
Something like that.
Yes.
You've got 43 or 40 of your closest friends all ready to knock you out of the way if they have to.
And they're all extras.
Unlike out on the 405, there ain't anybody out there to tell you to knock it off.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, gentlemen.
So Hamlin's going to be the favorite again. Okay.
Yeah, Hamlin's the favorite to win. Dark horses, I'm thinking I like Eric Jones, Eric Almirola. And then whoever comes out first, you should take that guy.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah. Well, there is a guy on the list that's 1,001 odds. What in the world would that be if that guy ended up pulling it off? And someone
if that guy pulls it off, I'll eat my hat.
Put a shit ton of money on him.
I will eat this hat. I will eat this hat if he pulls it off. I will dip it in barbecue sauce, and I will eat this hat.
Adam,
Who is
during
it?
some-
Who is it? Let's see.
Adam.
It's Quinn Hoff, and then I forget who the other.
Cody Ware.
I think there was
There's two.
Cody Ware. If either one of those guys wins the Daytona 500 on Sunday, I will take this hat, I will dip it in barbecue sauce, and I will eat it.
Let's hold him to that because he can do it live on the air. We'll have it.
I will do it live.
I can't wait to see this.
I will put that live on the air.
Message me though.
I will.
I will do
Good.
that.
I'm a man of my word. I will eat this hat to the best of my ability. I don't know how I'll do it, but I will figure out a way.
That's how I felt during Sunday's Super Bowl.
Oh,
Okay.
we'll talk about that
We'll
later.
get to that later. We'll get to that later.
Oh,
There was, being that real quick, guys, being that the Bucks were my mom's favorite team, I was very happy with the result.
Yeah.
So that's we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
MLS, I guess, I thought that they were going to go on strike, but I guess they were able to come up with a new CBA. So they're not
That's a
going to.
weird deal, right?
I'll-
Yeah, Lewis, you're more into this than I know. What happened that they didn't go on strike?
well, first of all, it wasn't going to be a strike. The players were going to get locked out by the owners, which is what they were seriously considering if a new collective bargaining agreement wasn't reached with. Let's see, today's the 11th. I think by last weekend, that was supposed to be like the 4th or 5th. If they didn't reach an agreement, the players would have been locked out, and it would have been a great tragedy for MLS soccer. Considering what they went through all year, I mean, they had their MLS back tournament, back in the summer, and then after that, they, regrouped and resumed the season, and then to have it snatched away out of all that, that'd be horrible. I mean, this is something, because I am a soccer fan. I used to follow the old NALS league, with the Cosmos and whatnot. I know I was a bit young to remember that, but still, I recall that, and I wouldn't want to see, a whole season go to waste like that. But I'm thankfully that the owners and the players have come to an agreement on the sport. So I'll be looking forward to it when it starts up in March.
I mean, even though Lewis, I'm not a fan of soccer other than during the World Cup or the Olympics. I don't want to leave the shutdown either because with everything going on right now, with people losing their jobs and stuff, if you can keep people, obviously athletes, but all the staff that work for those teams, the league goes down, they don't get paid either, so they're out too. So to me, I'm happy that. I think the one league that's in jeopardy of going on strike is Major League Baseball. We'll talk about that a little later. But I think baseball is the one that's going to be, unfortunately, going to that lockout thing like they did in, 94, whatever that was the year.
94, that was an all-out strike, and that was downright ugly.
That ruined Major League Baseball still to this day.
Thank you very much, League.
Yeah. I'm happy that Major League Soccer is coming back or is going to have the season this year. I know the USL, that soccer league where the Rowdies play, close to me in St. Pete, they're starting up, and I think in a few months. So that's coming back. So that's
I forgot about that league. That's the United League, right?
Right. Being here in Tampa, we had all the teams win championships. We had the Bucks win. The Lightning win the Stanley Cup. The Rays went to the World Series, and the Rowdies won their section of that league. The game got canceled because of COVID. I don't know why they never made the game up. You could have just postponed it for a couple of weeks, got retested everybody, and ran the title game. But, hey, that's their decision. I'm not going to argue with the commissioner, but I'm happy that Major League Soccer is coming back.
Oh, I got a little something extra for you.
Yeah.
I know it's not soccer anyway, but it appears to NBA. The Raptors are going to stay in Tampa for the rest of the season.
And Emily, they're struggling too. So I don't know. Yeah. They're struggling. I think all the teams in this state are struggling. Orlando's struggling. Miami's struggling. They're all struggling in the state of Florida. All the best teams in Florida. Well,
you know what? With the Heat, I'm not surprised that I'm not surprised because One, you probably lose your good players, and that's bad. And every time somebody loses a championship, it tends to stick with them through the season from after that. So I'm not really surprised. I mean, a lot of people are thinking, "What? How could this be? This is the biggest downfall." When you look at it, it's really not a surprise.
Right.
Well, I don't think so.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is kind of my expertise when it comes to sports, as I follow golf. This will be the first time. Go ahead.
Real quick, in shocker of all shockers, it's raining in Daytona.
Well, I was just going to say that I mentioned that earlier that they're calling for rain on Sunday. They're calling.
It's raining right now. Literally, they finished the race. They finished duel 1. And I looked down I was eating because I don't really care about soccer. I figured I'd let you guys have the floor and go ahead. And it was great. I enjoyed it. I ate salad. Looked up. It's raining. Looked back down. Looked up, and it was clear again. I was like, did I miss something?
No, that's what it does. No, that's what it does in Florida. It'll rain for 5 seconds, and then it'll quit, and it'll rain again, and then it'll quit. So, no, that's... Yeah.
And it stopped raining, and it looks like they're going to try and get the track dry, and they got the covers off the car. So, anyway, continue with the golf talk. I'm interested.
Yeah. Well, this will be the first. If anyone out there doesn't know, the professionals don't use what they call distance measuring devices, where you see them with scopes or something like that. Radar. It tells you how far you're away from the hole. This will be
rangefinder.
Yes.
This will be the first time this year that the 3 majors will allow you to use those as professionals. It used to be that you had to have your caddy go out, you get a yardage book, they would mark things down, tell you where this and this and that. This year they're going to allow it because I guess the PGA of America has changed their mind, and that's what they're going to do. So it is what it is, but yeah, they're going to the first time the major professional competition device will be allowed. 3 major championships run by the PGA America, the PGA Championship, the KPMG Women's PGA Championship, and the KitchenAid Senior. So all the PGA championships on each tour will be able to use the devices. So they're not going to be able to use them at the Masters, which I'm not sure.
Not the Masters.
Not the Masters and not the U.S. Open. I'm not totally shocked about. And I can't wait for April to roll around because I missed Augusta last year in April. I know that they moved it to November, but it's not the same. It's not at all. When you move a tournament like that, set
in April.
Set in spring where it's so green and the flowers are all pretty because they're blooming. And when you put it in November when everything's dormant in Georgia, it's a different, and it's like in every state. It's like
where everything is dying.
Right, everything you play golf and it's snowing on the ground or whatever, it's just it doesn't spell too well, but they're gonna allow them to use those at those 3 tournaments. So maybe it'll open it up for more in the future. I don't know. PGA.
Did they say was that due to COVID?
Which the Masters being moved, but it was due to COVID.
No. Them allowing the rangefinder.
No, I don't know if maybe the players have come to them and said because you can use them during your practice rounds. You just can't use them during tournament time. So that's where you have your caddy. And again, if you guys ever want to read an article, I wrote an article about having the importance of being a caddy and how you better trust the person, whether it's male or female. That's the one person that you want to trust because if you don't trust that person can mess you up. They can make you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're hitting the ball, but again, they can make you look really stupid if you piss them off. So just saying. But yeah, so that's pretty cool that the PGA Tour of America is changing the rules. Yeah. So we'll go ahead, guys, and jump to Major League Baseball. I guess the 2 things, there were 2 articles that jumped up. Now MLB wants to change the baseballs after
dumb.
All the baseball needs home runs.
Exactly.
Baseball needs home runs.
You don't want to see a boring 1-1 game with nothing going on. You want to see home runs. You want to see hits.
1-0 is only a good game if your pitcher is throwing a gem. If it's 2 teams, let's say you're a Red Sox fan and you're a Yankees fan. I'm sorry about that. So let's take your 2 guys. Okay, so A 1-0 Red Sox win over the Yankees sucks for Lewis, right? It's boring.
Yeah,
you don't want to watch, right?
No.
And then, of course, a 1-0 Yankees win over the Sox is boring for Brad because you don't want to see that. It'd be much more exciting if we're going to have the only time it's exciting is if your team is the team that's dealing.
But
Like your team,
a 1-0 victory between Yankees and Red Sox, not likely to happen. Once in 10 years, maybe, but not that often.
right? But a pitcher's duel is only fun if you're the team that's dealing.
Yes.
If you're the team that's looking silly and is struck out 18 times, it's not fun to watch.
No.
And then if it's two teams you don't care about, let's say it's Rockies and Braves. Okay, fine. Rockies and Braves. And it's the bottom of the seventh, and it's 0-0, and nobody's gotten, and there's 3 hits amongst the two teams, and it's just been it's not a fun game to watch. If it's a Sunday night baseball game on national television, and this is supposed to be a marquee matchup, and see baseball at its finest, and it's a 1-0 game or a 0-0 tie, that's not fun baseball. That's boring because you don't care about these teams. You want to see hits and runs and scoring.
Yeah.
It'd be like a 10-10 basketball game. Who the hell would tune in for that?
Well, it won't stay 10 for long in a basketball game once you're playing junior varsity.
Yeah.
But
we decided to leave the shot clock at home this week. Like back in the day, like original, like the association.
Before 1954, thank you very much.
Right.
I mean,
that's where baseball stuck before 1954.
No, I mean the shot clock in basketball. That's where it came in.
Yeah,
I was piggybacking off of what you said and was making a joke about baseball being a bunch of old fogies.
Right.
So I mean, I guess they're changing them. I don't know what the whole thing. They're gonna reduce the weight and decrease bounciness. Is what they're trying to do. I don't know what that means. I don't
make any sense. So you want to try and decrease the number of home runs per season? I guess that's what they're trying to tell us.
Correct.
Yeah.
After 2019.
It's terrible. Yeah. It's terrible. The only reason I watch the Tigers is to hopefully somebody would hit a home run. Otherwise, they're garbage and they're terrible, and I don't want to watch.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I want to. Even when my team's bad, if we're hitting home runs, even if we lose 13-12, at least we bombed the ball out of the yard and it was fun to watch. It's a fun game to watch. I mean, for I know we're switching sports and everything, but I just want to make a comparison. Is that the Wings played the Lightning a couple nights ago, and we got bombed 7-1, but it was still better than getting bombed, getting beat 1-0. God, it was, even though we got blown the hell out, it was still better to watch than a 1-0 game.
If it makes you feel any better, we're losing to the Panthers right now 4-1, buddy. So if it makes you feel any better.
Not really, because I like the Lightning.
The Lightning are losing right now 4-1. Stamkos is out of the game. He didn't play.
Those Panthers are going to be a tough out. We'll get to that in a little bit. I'm sorry. I keep jumping topics. I do that every week.
So I agree with you guys. I think if baseball does that, and let's say this year coming up, there's less home runs than there have been the last 2 seasons, then you're going to even more fans that you already have,
and they're hemorrhaging.
I mean, if you guys think about it, they've already lost a lot of fans anyway, and if they go down this route and they keep changing shit, they're gonna lose more. And then the people that are the hardcore fans, those are the ones that are gonna, you know what? I'm done with this shit. I'm done watching.
I don't care.
Thank you, Rob Bafford.
I've been a baseball fan for 20 years.
Yeah.
And if baseball were to go away tomorrow, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't lose a wink of sleep. I wouldn't care.
By next year, fine.
I love baseball. I think baseball's a great game. It's a lot of fun to play, and I like watching baseball. But for me, I like watching baseball. I don't care if it's a 3 or 4 hour affair. That's fine. It's baseball. Yeah. If I wasn't tuning in for a baseball game, I expect to be, one of the fun things about baseball is you can do things in the middle of the game. You go mow the lawn, you come back in an hour, and it's the bottom of the 4th. And you haven't really missed anything. Game gets good, and then you sit down and you're drinking adult beverage or 6, and You know,
Well,
I mean, it's
right.
baseball, man.
Well, then you take
Baseball.
you're not interested in the rules of keeping from last year, then, are you?
I was just
I
going to
love.
bring
I
the next
like.
thing to bring up.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you
What's
set it up and then.
the 7-inning doubleheaders, runners in extra, and COVID contract tracing. But there's not going to be extended playoffs, and there's not going to be a universal DH. So they've already announced both of that.
The best rule change in the last 50 years in baseball, and they're leaving it in 2020. The only rule change that made any sense. I'm incensed.
would be the DH. Everyone. I think we talked about that a couple weeks ago. That
We talked about it several times. Every time I get a chance to bring it up,
Yeah.
I'll bring it up.
and spring training guys is set to start next week. So they're the season's getting ready to cook.
Yeah,
Here.
Yeah.
ESPN announced earlier. I saw that on their Facebook page. ESPN announced four games are slated for opening day to be on the big network.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of the big network, I watched a YouTube clip the other day from a guy that I follow. And you know what ruined ESPN, or what's ruining ESPN?
Was that urinating tree?
Yes.
Yeah, his stuff's
Really?
good. I love him.
Yeah.
I love him.
Oh, I know that guy.
Yeah, his stuff's really good.
Taylor
He's a
Phillips' buddy.
hardcore Steelers fan, and he just ripped them.
He's a yinzer. He's a yinzer through and through, and he gives no.
Oh, yeah.
It takes no quarter, man. He's
That's
great.
Taylor
I love him.
Phillips' buddy.
Ripped
What's
them.
that?
That's you don't know. That's Taylor Phillips' sidekick, I think, Bradley, right?
I think so. I
Yeah.
found him. I found him on YouTube. Like I said,
Yeah, I found him through.
that
He
he
was
said
in the,
ESPN is us. These podcasts.
yeah. The only thing we can't do, and I agree with them, is we can't do documentaries like The Last Dance, stuff like that.
We can't do
But-
30 for 30 or
Right.
Yeah.
But we
What if
can,
we could?
can. Yeah, it would be great. I'd
That'd
love
be-
to sit down and talk to Dennis Rodman. That'd be incredible.
Well, maybe not him.
I think I would have a blast. Make bad jokes and drink beer with Dennis Rodman. I'm down, man. The Worm. Ask him about the dress. I want to know about Carmen Electra, what that was like.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well, I figured you're going somewhere with that.
I'm always going somewhere. You don't have
Yeah.
to come along, but I'm always going somewhere.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see how the
Yeah. No.
boils down.
In all seriousness, and I sincerely do hate the fact. I really think if I was commissioner of baseball, I would take all of. I want more hitting, more runs, more scoring. I want closer games. I want more parity throughout the league. I don't want a salary cap. I don't think a salary cap is necessary, but I like the way baseball. I like the luxury tax. I think that works fine. And I would start the runner on first in the 12th inning, second in the 14th inning, third in the 16th inning.
Mhm.
And if it gets to a 17th
Well,
inning, we
it
just
goes
send
that
both
far.
teams at each other in a Red Rover, and whichever when we get to 17
Nah,
innings, just everybody Red
umpires
Rovers
duke
at
it
each.
out.
Yeah.
Have the umpires duke it out.
Well, whichever team pays the umpires the most.
What is the longest game? 26 innings. What is the longest game in MLB?
I want to say it was 22.
Anybody know?
29, I think.
29? I thought it was like 22. I don't remember.
Let's see here. Let's see here real quick. I'll
Because
look it
there's actually two different. There's the longest time game and the most
Right.
innings played. You know what I mean?
All right, so here we go. Longest game in MLB history. Let's see if this one's up here.
26, right?
I thought it was 26. That's what I.
And that game ended in a
Yep,
tie.
20 innings. And that game was called Due to Darkness.
Yes. Remember, back then there was no nighttime baseball.
Yeah, they said the longest game was May 1st, 1920. 26 innings between the Brooklyn Robins and Boston Braves. 1-1 tie. There was no ball. The next one was 25. Again, it was between the White Sox and Brewers. 7-6, 1984. And then
But that game had to be continued the next day.
September 11, 1974. Cardinals 4, Mets 3. Longest 25 innings there.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go down the list. Astros 1, Mets nothing, 24 innings. So yeah, it goes down the list. Yeah, the longest was 26, and that was back when there was no night baseball, so they had to call the game due to difference.
And
Gotcha.
back then, that game had to be continued on the next day because they had a curfew.
See, that's new too because obviously they don't have that now. Obviously, there's no curfew now. I mean, there is for players, not for games anymore. Yeah.
Right, but they had curfew back then, especially in the American League.
Okay. All right, so we'll go to jump to basketball. So you see now that the NBA is mandating all teams play the national anthem because the Dallas Mavericks were the team that was not playing the national anthem during their game. That's interesting.
It was an old rule that had never been implemented before, and it's been on the books, but they never had to use it until now, and so now they're using it. And
well, it's funny that Mark Cuban happens to be in the middle of all this stuff.
Always.
Flamboyant owners in all basketball.
Cuban's an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. That's fine. I mean,
I know.
He lets his ego, I think, sometimes get in front of his. Yeah.
It's all about Mark Cuban.
Yeah. It's all about him. Exactly. It's all about him and not so much about the team that he owns. You know, he puts himself in the limelight ahead of his.
A lot of times, yeah.
So the Eastern Conference the Eastern Conference are as follows. You have Philly, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Boston, Indiana, Charlotte, Atlanta, Toronto are the top 8. And then you got the Knicks, Miami, Cleveland, Chicago, Orlando, Washington, Detroit rounds out the Eastern Conference. And then the West is Utah, the Lakers, Clippers, Suns, Trailblazers, Spurs, Nuggets, Warriors, Kings, Pelicans, Grizzlies, Rockets, Mavericks, Oklahoma City, and then the Timberwolves are last in the Western. Last in the Western Conference. And then, so I mean, again, it's still early in the NBA season to kind of. I mean, obviously, the Lakers are a good team. You know that Utah's good. Golden State. I guess they're 13-12 right now, or whatever they are. They'll be.
It's an improvement from last year, though. So I'll give you that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I caught something else, guys. Speaking of NBA, who do you guys think is the most valuable NBA team right now? Out of all of them, the Knicks. They are. They're number one on the list. Their value is $5 billion. That's
the Warriors were 2, right? 4.4.
Yeah, Warriors are 2 at 4.7. The Lakers are at 4.6. Chicago's at 3.3. Boston's at 3.2. That rounds out the top 5.
You wonder how a team that's been so bad for the most part, the last 20 years can still be the highest,
most valuable.
Yeah, the most valuable. I mean, because the Knicks haven't really done anything since,
96.
No, 2002, really. But a few exceptions.
Well, there's Patrick Ewing years.
Yeah.
Yes. And still the most valuable team in the NBA. I mean, only the Yankees, I think, top that in American sports.
I would think so. So.
Slightly.
Or maybe the Cowboys.
But I thought maybe if you were bad, your value will go down, not up.
If we can scratch $2 billion together, we can buy an NBA franchise.
Sounds good.
You can buy the Cavaliers, the Pacers, the Hawks, the Hornets, the Magic, the Pistons, Timberwolves, the Pelicans, the Grizzlies are all under $2 million, or all under $2 billion. Scratch together $2 billion, we can own a franchise.
Why would you want to take a chance on a dumpster fire like that?
Oh no, I'm just saying. The only thing that on top of that, if you're going to do that, then you have to make sure you're not a Mark Cuban who puts yourself in the limelight, or you're not Goldman who
Jerry Jones.
Get about his team. You want to get a good owner. You want to be a good owner, then be a good owner. And be there.
Well, that disqualifies Dolan, that's for sure.
The most valuable.
Yeah, Dolan's an idiot too.
You gonna guess what the most valuable franchise in North America is right now?
In North America, the Yankees.
Nope.
It's not the Yankees.
I'll try again.
That's nuts.
It's a football team.
It's
Cowboys.
It's Cowboys.
Just say Dallas.
$5.5 billion.
So Dallas is the overall. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
North America.
Yeah.
North
I don't know about
But,
the world, but in American sports, yes. It's probably some European soccer team is the most valuable.
It is.
Say
It is.
Chelsea or Manchester United, one of those.
Manchester U. Manchester U is the most valuable.
You know who owns Manchester United? The Glazers, who own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There you go.
Really?
They're the owners of Manchester
Yes.
United. Yep.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yep. So, but
Uh-huh.
yep. All right, so we can go ahead, guys, and go down the power rankings in the National Hockey. Now, again, the season is still fresh, still young. I mean, I think they've only played 13 games, I think, so far this year.
If
Something
that,
like that, yeah.
Suns hasn't even gone that far.
A lot of teams have had games canceled due to COVID, obviously. But right now, they have the Maple Leafs at 1, Boston at 2, Vegas at 3, the Lightning at 4, Montreal at 5, Philly at 6, Colorado at 7, St. Louis at 8, Washington at 9, Carolina at 10, Dallas at 11, Florida at 12. We were just talking about the Florida Panthers. 13 is Winnipeg. Columbus is at 14. Pittsburgh's at 15. Edmonton 16. Islanders at 17. The Coyotes at 18. Minnesota at 19. The Devils at 20. Flames at 21. Chicago at 22. The Ducks at 23. The Sabres at 24. The Rangers at 25. The Sharks at 26. The Predators at 27. The Canucks at 28. The Kings at 29. The Wings at 30. And holding down the stretch is the Ottawa Senators at 31. So there you go. Ottawa beat Montreal the other day, and I think they got a little humbled after that win, after them beating them.
I would think so, yes.
And the Cowboys are the most valuable. The Cowboys are the most valuable team in the world.
$5.5 billion.
At $5.5 billion. Real Madrid is 7th at 4.7.
Okay.
It's the Cowboys. It's the boys. Them boys, man. It's still early in the NHL season.
Yeah.
But
Burn shovel.
the cream rises to the top, as it were. To quote Quiet Macho Man there. The cream will rise to the top. I think the Panthers are going to be a tough out. I've watched a couple of their games. The way to play them like 6 times in 4 nights or something like that. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Every time I turn around, the Moose playing. Them Panthers, keep them off the power play. They're a potent bunch on the power play.
Yep, no doubt about it.
Of course, the Lightning. I think the Lightning are technical. I really think the Lightning are the best team in the NHL. I don't really care what your power rankings say. I'm not sure how they. I'm not sure. No. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just not sure how they moved the Lightning down to 4. I'm not really sure how they got to that because
Well, Toronto's up there because you have Austin Matthews, who's off to a hot start. Mitchell, another guy that's off to a hot start. So then again,
I expect the Leafs to come back to the pack.
Right.
I just think the Lightning are probably. I've watched 5 or 6 Lightning games so far. I got the NHL app, and I went ahead and paid for it. So I've been watching a lot of hockey, more hockey than I have basketball. I like hockey better. So
I wonder what's going to happen next year, though, since the NBC Sportsnet is going to go out of business. I wonder what's going to take over.
So this is what I know about that deal.
Okay.
As the months go along, they're going to slowly begin phasing out NBCSN. Most of their programming is going to move to the NBC family of networks. So CNBC, USA, and main NBC non-cable. I think there's another network in there, but I'm not sure.
MSNBC?
I don't think they're going to move anything to MSNBC, but I think there was a third network that had been mentioned. Now, I do know, and I don't know how this affects the Indianapolis 500, but from what I was told and the way I understand it, subject to change, of course, as all things are, what's going to happen is NBC is going to be moving all of their Indy coverage over to the Peacock network, which is their streaming service.
Ooh.
So if you don't have a way to stream that, and I don't know if that's a free app or if that's a pay app.
It's a free app.
I believe it's free.
Free on
But I don't know if all that stuff's going to be locked behind a paywall, if you're going to have to subscribe to get certain content or whatnot. So, I think this is the way that most things are going to go. I really love the NHL.tv app. I can get on my phone, I get on my TV, I get on my laptop. I think it's great. I pay $25 a month for it. I get every game I can, every game except for games that are in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So as long as the Wings aren't playing the Predators, I can watch them.
Well, I go to yoursportstream.com to get almost any game except the soccer. For some reason they don't get, but I get all the NHL games, all the NBA games, baseball, and it's absolutely free. So nothing to worry about. Yoursportstream.com.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Lewis, yeah, thank you, man. I'll take a look at that.
Appreciate that.
Anyone out watching too? Anyone out there watching too?
Cost you nothing.
Yep.
Alrighty then. I'm getting into my other favorite.
But anyway, the thing is though with that, with all the games being postponed or whatnot, I mean, you wonder how this, let's just put it this way: have we got a problem, or have we got a problem?
We've got a Houston.
We do have a problem. Yeah,
we have a problem.
Or Toronto in this case, because the Wings, the Wings didn't have any games postponed. However, the Stars had games postponed, which meant the Panthers had games postponed, which meant the Wings had games delayed and moved and swapped around. So a game that was supposed to be a Sunday afternoon game is now a Saturday game.
Yes. Yeah. The Rangers postponed their game with the Flyers for Saturday, and I was looking forward to that.
So the game 2 days from now?
Yeah. Flyers have had their season up on ice. The Devils, the Sabres, the Wild, and the Avs.
Yeah, the Avalanche. See, I think the Avalanche were the favorite to come out of the Western Conference.
They were.
Other than, of course, Vegas was the other team that was – those two after – when the season started, it was Vegas and Colorado that were the favorites to come out of the Western Conference. And then the Lightning were one of the ones out of the East, and I forget who the other team was coming out of what. Because it's Pittsburgh is gonna be gone. I think their age has caught up to them, stuff like that.
Yeah,
certain teams.
Nashville isn't any good.
And that I again seeing the Lightning play Nashville, it's getting chippy. It's like every year the Lightning have somebody that they get chippy with. It was Columbus. I mean, we play Columbus again, but this year it seems to be Nashville. All the games we played against the Predators have all been chippy. Every one of them we played against them, we have been chippy. So it seems like there's always something chippy in there. But see, the funny thing is, Adam will let you know, when the Red Wings moved to the division with the Lightning, that was the rivalry. Those two teams didn't like each other. And now
you guys are just so much better than us that it doesn't even.
It's gonna come to the point where Yzerman will get that team back to the way it was, and it'll be good again. I mean,
he's got his work cut out for him.
He does. Yeah, he does. Yeah. He does.
I mean, I've watched this team play 12 games of uninspired, unenthusiastic, pretty pathetic hockey. We've got our fourth guy overall, and he's not even dressed and playing. We got all these top draft picks that aren't even dressed and playing. They're down in the minors playing. You can't tell me that you're gonna draft a guy 4th overall and he's gonna go down and play in the minors. That's just terrible. That's just terrible scouting. If the guy isn't ready to go, we can't afford to wait for a guy to develop for 2 years.
True.
We're terrible. We're god awful. It's not a fun team to watch. Trade that pick away. Get me a star. You find me somebody who's a young guy. And it's an almost established star somewhere, a guy that's already developed. And let's bring him in, because this trade and this waiting for the future is 5 years overdue. I heard in 2013, blow it up, start over. Well, blow it up, start over in 2014 and 2016, blow it up and start over. Well, we blew it up and we started over, and we still haven't done anything but lose and lose and lose.
Yeah, it's funny because usually that's one of the teams that makes the National Hockey League fun to watch. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not picking on everybody. I'm not picking on certain teams, but me in my youth, the '90s, the reason that you watched hockey is because of the Avalanche and the Red Wings. That's what you tuned in. Those games were always so great to watch because you knew something is going to happen. Something is going to happen. You tuned into all the games, and we haven't had a rivalry since that.
Not like that, no.
No, not that nature.
It's like when the Bulls and the Knicks were good in the 90s. The same thing, you know. You tune into, you know, hey, there's a basketball game on. Is it? You don't want to know if it was the Knicks and the Bulls. Yeah. Patrick Ewing versus Michael Jordan.
Yep. Or, I mean, and even Lewis can say this, when Michael went and played baseball, it was New York and Indiana. They didn't like each other.
Yeah.
Reggie Miller
They didn't like each other either.
Yeah. So, all right, guys.
I don't know if they were playing the Knicks, but there's that infamous Reggie Miller, you know, the choking. I don't remember who they were playing. It probably was the Knicks.
Yeah, he was doing the choke signal to Spike Lee. That's who he was doing.
Oh, was that okay? Yeah. I couldn't remember who he was mocking.
Yeah.
All right, well, we can move on now. I'm happy.
So this is of course, way too early top 25 heading into college football next season. So we'll start with, obviously, the defending national champion, Alabama Crimson Tide at number 1. Obviously, they would be number 1.
They've got to be number 1, especially with the number 1 recruiting class and the best class they've ever had.
And it looks like they'll have 5-star Bryce Young, who will replace Mac Jones. Of course, they're going to, you know, there have a lot of guys going to the NFL, as they always normally do. You have Clemson at number 2. So Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, I believe they're both gone. You have the Oklahoma Sooners, who manhandled Florida in the Cotton Bowl because Florida had a bunch of holdouts going to the NFL. You have Georgia at 4. They put Georgia at 4. Wow,
that's surprising. Where's Ohio State then?
They have
Ohio State at 5.
Iowa State is at 5. They have the Cyclones.
Are you doing meth?
I'm just telling you, dude. I'm reading it right off.
I'm not. I'm asking them. I'm asking them if they're doing meth because you gotta be out your damn mind.
Well, Ohio State is 6, so that makes you feel any better. That's who they have at 6.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. Not really.
They have Texas A&M at 7. They have Cincinnati at 8. Indiana at 9. Iowa at 10. North Carolina at 11. Washington at 12. Notre Dame at 13. Wisconsin at 14. The Gators are all the way at 15. Wow, that's a big drop.
Yeah, you guys got a lot. You got a lot of pieces headed in the NFL, though. I'm not surprised.
Oregon at 16, LSU at 17, Texas at 18, Coastal Carolina at 19, Ole Miss at 20, Penn State at 21, the Miami Hurricanes at 22, Arizona State at 23, at 24 is USC, and at number 25 it's Louisiana. So there are the top 25, possibly the top 25 in
the way too early preseason predictor.
Very too early.
Top 25.
Well, now whose list was this compiled by?
I agree with
somebody on Bleacher Report, I believe.
Yeah.
No, I don't trust them.
Oh, okay, that explains a lot.
Let me see who it was.
Don't do drugs, kids. All I can say is don't do drugs.
Right, especially if it's from the Bleacher Report.
Who is it?
I know, right? Bleacher Report is a drug.
Adam Kramer from Bleacher Report is the one.
I disavow. As a name holder, as the Adam name holder of the room, the gathered gentleman, I disavow his content.
Yes.
Disavow.
There's only one accurate poll. There's only one accurate poll for college football, and I think we know what that is.
Yeah.
I guess I gotta say it, don't I?
Go ahead.
The Associated Press.
Yeah, there you go.
Whatever one isn't compiled by a meth head.
Well, that's what Bleacher Reports is.
Yeah. I'm here to tell you because that Iowa State at 5. I mean, I like Iowa State, and I'm really high. Don't get me wrong. I am over the moon on that Brock Purdy kid. I think he's the next. I think he's a third round. I think he's a stud in the making. But you gotta be out your mind.
To put them at 5.
Oh, yeah, of course.
They still have to play Texas. They gotta play Oklahoma State or Oklahoma. I'm sorry, I meant Oklahoma. I mean,
you can put Oklahoma that list because they're not a bad team either. They're
Right, they're gonna have to play Oklahoma State, and
play Oklahoma
who knows?
State.
I don't know what their non-conference schedule looks like, but
We'll see. We shall
this is
see.
why you don't drink and write, kids. only drinking podcast. Leave the drinking and the podcast to the professionals now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, guys, here's the NCAA basketball rankings right now. You
Okay.
Kentucky at 1. Obviously, they've been number 1 for a long time.
You said
got
Baylor at number.
Baylor
Who was at number
Gonzaga's 1, Baylor's
1?
2.
Baylor's 2. Okay.
Ohio State is 3.
What?
You have,
No. What?
Yeah.
No. Michigan's at 3.
well, they have Michigan at 4. I don't know who did this ranking. I'm just going by what I'm
They had
Yeah.
Michigan. What? Ohio State at 3?
said. Ohio State is 3. Yeah, let's see.
Now
Hang on.
what Bleacher Report do?
No, I don't know. I didn't realize.
No, this is ESPN because this is Matt
Okay,
Norlander.
okay.
Matt Norlander of ESPN. Yeah, this is not Bleacher Report. So this is how he has it. Again, this is his opinion, guys. We're not going by.
Yeah, the AP has Michigan at 20 at 3. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I was that's why I was confused. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
So
they have I didn't
They have-
realize Ohio State was that good. I didn't realize they were 16-4. God damn.
They have Virginia at 5, Villanova at 6, USC at 7, Missouri at 8, Houston at 9, Va Tech at 10, Florida State at 11. Florida State's a good basketball team here in the state of Florida. Alabama at 12, Illinois, Tennessee, Texas, West Virginia, Lafayette, and that's the Chicago. Loyola, am I pronouncing that correctly? Loyola,
Loyola.
Loyola.
Loyola. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Belmont at 18,
That's okay.
Oklahoma at 19, and then that's the top 19 teams in the country at the immediate moment.
That's AP has Oklahoma at 12.
12, okay. That's 12, okay.
It wasn't that
Loyola,
long ago.
Chicago.
It was, not even on the map.
Well, I mean, you were talking earlier, Lewis, about North Carolina and Duke. Those two teams don't even make the tournament this year. That's a sad
And
situation.
neither is Kentucky.
And Kentucky, too.
Kentucky's-
That's another one. The Blue Bloods of NCAA basketball are not going to go this year.
I had that game. I had the game on last night for a little bit. I didn't watch all of it because I was watching other things. But
Right.
I had a little bit of that Arkansas Kentucky game on, and Kentucky looked flat. They looked like they didn't know
Yeah,
they
they
didn't
did.
know what they were doing. They looked bad. They looked
The worst
bad.
season since the 60s.
Yeah, they looked bad. They looked discombobulated and uncoordinated. They looked
Yeah.
like they had the shoes tied together. Can I come up
It
with
was.
any other words to describe how god awful they looked? God awful.
I would say, but I'm gonna be a gentleman here. So
Yeah. Expletives on inappropriate for airwaves.
right.
Yeah, all those
But-
words that John Calipari that
Yes.
John Calipari uses in his locker room.
Yeah,
If you don't
Yeah.
know what it means, ask your dad.
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the worst season since 1962.
Doesn't really.
Wow. Okay, I didn't. Yeah, that's.
Is it their worst season all overall then, or
No, the
Not
worst
yet.
is 62. Not yet.
62 was
But
their
it's
worst?
getting close to there.
They were terrible. I all kidding aside, and I know I joke and I tell bad jokes and drink,
So
and that's what I do. But they look terrible. I watched them take one
They do.
shot yesterday, and he shot from behind the basket. It somehow he takes this wild shot off his back foot, and it goes like that, and it hits. He's behind the, like, if this is the basket here, he's back
Yeah.
here, and it somehow goes off the side of the backboard. It was horrid. It was like one of the worst basketball I've seen. Third graders shooting at kid hoops and have taken better shots.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
And John Calipari is supposed to be in this basketball genius.
let's
I
look at
never liked it.
let's look at it right now. The best team in the SEC is Tennessee. That's weird.
Yeah.
In men's basketball, women's basketball, different story. But in men's basketball, that's weird. I mean, it is just strange.
Well,
Top team in the SEC.
Tennessee hasn't been this team since
Alabama's 15-5 right now.
They're not bad. That's not bad.
Well,
Yeah, Tennessee is 13-4. Alabama's 15-5 as it sits right now.
Tennessee women's basketball has not been the same since the late Pat Summitt passed away. So,
And
Yep.
yeah, Alabama has and this is the AP. Alabama has more wins than anyone else, but Missouri is one rank higher. Or is Missouri in the Big?
I'm sorry. Missouri's in the SEC. Yes, I'm sorry.
Is Missouri still in the SEC? Yeah, Missouri is the highest ranked team out of the SEC, and Alabama has the best record out of the SEC.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
And of course, Michigan's been on COVID for the last 2.5 weeks, so they haven't had any games. They were slated to play Michigan State on my birthday, and that game didn't happen. So go figure.
Do they know when they're going to start back up?
Last I heard, they're going to get going on Sunday. They're going to play Wisconsin on Sunday. That should be a good game.
Oh yeah,
definitely a must-win game. I think from being 13-1 and having looked so good before the shutdown, it's a must-win. They've got to come out and they've got to play with energy, play inspired basketball, and get the job done. They can't. They've got to play up tempo, high speed, get in their face, get on the pace, and push the ball up the court and take it to Wisconsin like they have for the last couple of times they played.
Are they in Madison, buddy, or are they in Ann Arbor?
I'm not sure if they're in Madison or Ann Arbor. I can look though.
I think it's Ann Arbor.
That's what I want to say, but I'm not sure. That's the wrong team.
Same thing with USF. They've been out. Both their men's and women's team both have been out for like the last 3 weeks because of COVID issues. Yeah, they've been playing.
It is in Madison.
There was Wisconsin.
I was wrong.
They're in Badger country. Okay.
Yep. It's a 1:00 tip-off on CBS.
Actually, it's funny. My dad's from Wisconsin. And I always used to ask him. I said, in a real life fight, what would win, a badger or Wolverine? He goes, you'd be surprised because they're both aggressive animals. You'd be surprised if they fought each other. He said it's kind of close between a badger and a Wolverine. How
Wolverines are much bigger than badgers.
They are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Badgers. We don't need those stinking badgers.
Badgers.
All right, so let's move to a topic I think we all love to talk about, and we usually end the show with this one. So.
Usually we end the show on this topic.
Yeah, we'll bring that up, but we will get into the Super Bowl talk. Did you guys see that Trevor Lawrence is having surgery on his non-throwing shoulder before the draft?
Doesn't mean anything. No. Unless he's having a collarbone repaired or something. If he's having minor outpatient surgery, I ain't worried about it. No, in all seriousness, if he was having a major surgery, then yeah, that would be. But if it's going to be minor surgery, if he's just going to have something, touched up before he goes into the draft, I ain't even worried about it. I'm still taking him number one.
Well, it's not like a Drew Brees injury then.
Right.
Oh yeah, no.
That was bad.
Yeah.
That was a horrible one.
A lot of guys get scoped after the season anyway, so I would have to imagine, because I haven't heard anything about it being serious. I would imagine he's just getting scoped or something like that, going to have a bone spur picked off or something like that.
Brady's having minor surgery too.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. He's having his knee scoped. That's what made me think about it. As long as it's not major surgery, I ain't worried about it.
Well, speaking of Brees, do you guys think he's coming back, or do you think he's done?
Until he says I'm not coming back, he's coming back.
Okay.
As much
if he doesn't
go away, he's not.
If he says he's not coming back, well then he ain't coming back. But since right now, I assume he's coming back. I assume he will play in New Orleans next year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I was just gonna ask about because everyone that's a Saints fan is like, oh, we're gonna lose our Well, here's the thing about them anyway. No matter if he comes back or not, that team is in serious cap trouble. They are one of the seriously strapped cap coming into the season. So they're going to have to get rid of a lot of people.
They're going to have to unload a lot
going
into next season.
Yeah.
How much?
I think they don't have any.
I think they're $25 million over the cap right now.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. How much over the cap?
$25 million. I think they're over the cap. They're way over the cap.
Significant.
Significant. All right, guys. So we can talk about the big game last Sunday. I again was happy with the overall. Again, my mom's favorite team was the Bucks, and before she passed away, she was talking to me. She's like, I can't believe that Tom Brady's going to take us to the Super Bowl. I said, well, let's pump the brakes before they beat the Packers. I said, just hold up a minute. You know, you don't know yet when they beat Green Bay. And then, yeah, I can't really explain, you know.
I had the
defense had Mahomes on the run the entire game. I mean,
it was insane.
I've never seen it. I've never seen a quarterback ever run for
Not in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Not in the Super Bowl for sure.
Correct. Yeah. It was not pretty for
yeah, I had Von Allen's show on, his post-game show on after, and he shouted us out, by the way.
I'm gonna watch the show. I have it on my YouTube vid, but I haven't watched it yet. So yeah, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. But I just was blown away. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see it coming. No. So that's what I said. So I sent him a super chat, and I was like, I wish I had taken a screenshot of my pre-season pick 'em, because I did a simulation of the games, and I picked Tampa Bay to win the whole thing back in August.
Yeah,
I had Tampa Bay winning the Super Bowl, and I think it was against Kansas City. I don't remember, but I had them winning the whole thing back in back in August. I also had the Lions in the playoffs, so don't listen to me.
Hey, you got Jared Goff. You got Jared Goff now, so come on now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really happy with that trade. I really think the Lions won that trade.
Yeah, Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford going to Los Angeles. So
right, go out to the Bay, man.
Yeah.
Not San Francisco Bay, but
I was
really happy with the trade because I love picks, man. In the NFL, picks are killer.
Right.
You can never have too many picks. That's how Jimmy Johnson was able to rebuild the Cowboys in 2 years. Seeing every pick under the sun.
That's the Miami Dolphins. They have the most picks into this draft too. Last year, so there you go.
And then I'm gonna take. I think that but I think that I was just so blown away. It was that first series with Brady in the game. I was like, well, it's just one series. Let's kind of work the kinks out. It's been 2 weeks,
right?
And then they had the second series, and it was like, ooh, this could get ugly quick.
Right.
Because I assumed that Mahomes would get it figured out, and I think that turf toe really bothered him.
Yes.
Not having his O line, that of course was not a help, and I think that turf toe really, really hurt. I really think that hurt him way more than he'd like to admit.
I think the concussion bothered him more.
And that too. He could have had after effects of that.
I saw it in his feet. He really wasn't able to set his feet the way he normally does. Like that ball that hit Tyreek Hill in the face mask.
Yes.
I think he had to put more on it than he wanted because of the foot. I think he was overcompensating. He was throwing the ball harder.
Right.
I'm no expert. I just play one on TV.
I just thought
I didn't really notice anything in his decision making that would make me think that the concussion was bothering him. I saw it in his throwing mechanic. I saw it in the way he was running. He seemed to be running more ginger and deliberately than he had earlier before the turf toe started bothering him.
All right.
That's what I saw. I saw him having issues planning and torquing like he wanted. And I mean he made some great throws. I mean that one where he was vertical, he was in the air and he just ripped it with his arm.
Yeah. Yes.
It was insane. But
it was.
But the way he was throwing, there were a lot of throws. Like the one throw that he threw, he tried to get to it was Charles later in the third quarter before it really turned into a rout. He tried to kind of dump it off to Charles.
Yeah.
Look what you started. And it just was a little bit out in front. I really think that was him using too much arm. He wasn't able to step into his throw the way he wanted. He wasn't able to plant the way he wanted on his foot, on his toes. And so that ball kind of just sailed on him.
Yes.
That's the way I saw it.
The Bucks won the Super Bowl the same way they won their first one. Their defense.
On defense.
The defense.
Yeah.
When they won back in 2002, they had probably one of the best defenses in all of NFL history with Sapp and Brooks and Rondé Barber. And congratulations to John Hill on the Hall
of Famer.
But I mean, those guys. I mean, Rondé Barber will be there too.
Yeah, he should be.
They won again on defense. Devin White was a beast. Shaq was, JPP had them running. Sue, same way. They all. I mean, Vita Vea was. You could see the difference between the defense when Vita Vea is in the middle compared to when he's not there.
Oh yeah,
he makes a huge difference. And again, I'm not picking on Tom because Tom won the MVP. But he's not the greatest game. That's not the greatest Super Bowl he's had. But the defense did their
the best Super Bowl he ever played. He lost.
That's right, against the Giants, right?
No, against the Eagles.
Eagles against the Eagles. Okay.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns, 502 yards. And he lost.
One fumble.
But this is the most effective Super Bowl he had. 3 touchdowns, no picks. I mean, it takes so much pressure off your defense when you get out and they can just pin their ears back and fly at them.
Yeah.
And they know that their quarterback's going to pick them up. I mean, and that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about that this afternoon before I got done with work. I was thinking about the fact that was how I expected Michigan's offense to play last year. I expected them to pick up the defense, get a couple of scores and get out and attack so the defense could just pin their ears back and get after them.
Right.
And that's what I saw on Sunday night was the offense picked up the defense and allowed them to and the defense was able to just pin their ears back and get after it. The defense gave the offense enough time to go down and get a quick score or two, and then the defense just took over the game.
Well, when you go in the red zone 3 times and you only get 9 points, that's something that the Chiefs only ever held single-digit points. I don't think there's been many times this season or since Patrick Mahomes took over as quarterback, they've been held to single digits. Yeah.
It's the first time that's in that he's ever been held without a touchdown.
Yeah, there you go.
Ever. High school, college.
His worst ever.
Yeah.
Yep. And the most important game of his career so far. And it's like I was telling Von Allen, everybody's just bound and gagged that he's the next great one. But he's got the turf toe. He's had a concussion.
Yeah.
He's got, these little nip and tuck injuries are starting to creep up. And Dan Marino, and I don't know if this is I was thinking about it, and this is another thing I was thinking about. I don't know if it was real or not, but I heard of Dan Marino. I was attributed to Dan Marino. He may not have said it, so don't quote me on this, but he was, after they went to the Super Bowl, and I think it was like 86, something like that. 87, I don't remember when it was off the top of my head. But they lost. He was quoted as saying, "No, this is easy, I'll be back." Never made it back ever again.
It was 82.
82?
Yeah.
Oh, was it that early? Because I thought he was part of the 84 class.
Was it his rookie season or was it his second season in the league that he got?
I believe it was the second year.
Second year in the league, okay.
Yeah.
Well, they ran into the buzzsaw known as the San Francisco 49ers. That's what happened. You run into a buzzsaw like Joe Montana and company back in the 80s, it was hard to beat them.
Yeah.
They were hard to beat back in the 80s. Again, guys, I mean, my mom was a huge Bucs fan. And I'm sure she was smiling ear to ear up in heaven,
Yeah.
when they won. And my uncle, too. My uncle's another one of those big Bucs.
84.
So, I mean, so all the Bucs fans, the ones that are here, the ones who, are gone, they were all jumping for joy. I mean, every one of them were happy.
I'm sure they were.
That the team had won their second Super Bowl. And, of course, again, after the Lightning had won the Stanley Cup, so it's nice to have 2 teams in the same city win championships. It would have been interesting to see if the Rays somehow would have been able to pull out the World Series.
That would have been incredible.
That would have been crazy if the 3 of them had won, And then
World
really
titles.
think back to the Rowdies. The last few games that the Rowdies had played, I think they would have beat Phoenix. I think they would have won the championship overall. they would have beat Phoenix. That would have been the team that they would have played against. If they would have beat them, it'd have been interesting to see 4 teams win championships all in the same city. That would have been very, very cool. To do that. But, so, guys, again, the 2021 Hall of Fame class. I'm sure you guys have already seen the names. Peyton Manning, obviously, that's a no surprise. Charles Woodson, one that's a no surprise.
Yep.
Calvin Johnson, another one that's a no surprise. Drew Peterson, obviously, should have been in a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Alan Faneca, another one that should have probably.
Oh yeah. I thought this was his first year of eligibility.
Faneca, maybe okay. I don't know who Bill Nunn is. Is he an executive or something?
I think so.
Yes.
Okay. Then you got John Lynch, and then Tom Flores is the first Hispanic coach. What was he? I
think he was a quarterback. I think he played quarterback for the Raiders back in the 80s.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I thought he was a coach too. Was he not a coach too? After his,
was he? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I believe he was.
Yeah, it says one of our 4 coaches who have won 2 Super Bowls and not been inducted to the Hall of Fame. Flores can no longer claim that half prestigious honor. He coached the Raiders for 10 seasons in the AFL for the Bills, Chiefs before transitioning to coach. Yeah, hired in 1979 by the Oakland Raiders. Yeah, he's okay. There's a commercial that he's on that he's like the first.
Yeah, it's a Bud Light commercial, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's the first Hispanic head coach.
Yes. Correct. First Hispanic head coach. So yeah.
I didn't realize you were right about Faneca. This was his 11th year of eligibility or 6th year of eligibility. He retired and it's ridiculous. He's one of the best offensive linemen of the 21st century. Ridiculous.
Gonna say.
Yeah, it's hard, but it's hard for goal. It's hard for the for an offensive lineman to get in the Hall of Fame.
It is, but they keep your quarterback's jersey clean, so they should should get in the Hall.
Yeah, he should have gone in. He should have gone in. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, because he retired in 2010.
Yeah. Well, I mean, none of those guys that made it in this year. There's no surprise, obviously.
No.
Manning, obviously.
This class. This class was racked and stacked, man. Because he should have. There were everyone in this class. Pretty much, just about everybody should have gone into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
No question about it.
I really felt like this is one of the ones where they should have made an exception and inducted just everybody in the class. Everybody that was eligible should have gone in, just about.
That'd be kind of cool.
I really think that they don't put enough people in the Hall of Fame. I mean, again, I go back. I know a lot of people complain about the fact that the Hall of Fame is being watered. It's the Hall of Fame. It's about people who are famous for playing football. It doesn't matter about individual accomplishments.
Right.
Are you famous for playing football? I don't care how good at it you were, unless you were just of course you have to, of course you can't be a Gossard Cherilus.
Right.
Right.
At
least it's not in the Baseball Hall of Fame, which has been becoming a joke lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't put anybody in the Baseball Hall of Fame, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. That's a shame.
I know it's really hard with the
voting.
Yeah, the writers
with the
Association of America.
With the steroid era. The steroid era in baseball. It's really hard for for writers to want to put those guys in the Hall of Fame, which I understand. But guys, you gotta find somebody. There's gotta be 5 guys you can put that 5 guys that are historic guys that aren't in the Hall of Fame yet, at least.
Right.
I mean, Roger Maris still is in the Hall of Fame, right?
He should be.
He should be. Definitely should be.
I mean, why not him or another? I'm sure there's other players that played in the 60s or 70s. They should be in the Hall of Fame, but I'm not drawing up, that aren't. But I'm not thinking of any. I just think it's a joke that people want to keep people out of the Hall of Fame. I'm like, dude, are they famous for playing football? Put them in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you don't gotta put them. You don't gotta build them their own obelisk and monument and temple.
No.
Put a plaque and a bus, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need the separate wing of the Hall of Fame for Jonathan Taylor, but I mean, he should be in there. He was great. He was one of the first defensive linemen that made me like, oh, that's what a good defensive line looks like.
Yep. Yeah.
So I mean, for me, the more the merrier.
Yeah. It's a great
I
class.
suppose there's so many you can put in though.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part. Yep. That's the unfortunate part about that is there's a limited number of guys that you can vote in, and I mean, it would have been nice this year with what happened last year with the pandemic. She said, you know what? Okay, this year instead of the limit is 7, we're gonna put in 10. We're gonna put in 3 extra people, and then like that, make it a little bit different so that 3 more people that were eligible are now could be in there. Because again, like you wait around. Like you said, Alan Faneca, 11 years have been waiting to get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's been.
Drew Peterson's been playing. He waited the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
How long has he been waiting to get the call? So that's what I'm saying. It's a shame.
A long time.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute shame.
And the other thing I was thinking about the fact that there's going to be that one guy who's got to stick it to New England and Tom Brady, and is not going to vote for him.
Yeah.
That one guy, because he's that guy.
Yeah. Well,
He's that guy.
I don't know how he doesn't get in when he's got 7 rings more than any other.
Yeah, but he's not going to be. He's not going to be the. He's not going to be universal or whatever that.
I got you.
What was it? What was it they called? Mariano Rivera.
I know the word you're talking about. Yeah, where you are just automatic. You get
He was the like no one voted against him.
Yeah, unanimous.
Yeah,
unanimous.
Yeah. Because there's gonna be that one guy that hates that's got a stiffy for Brady hate.
Well, that's what happened to Derek Jeter. There was one guy that was Derek to the Hall of Fame last year. One guy. So there you go.
How? How is Derek Jeter not a Hall of Famer? Make the case. I want that guy brought up in front of me. I want him to make the case that Derek Jeter's not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He's not gonna laugh in your face.
Him and Rivera were my 2 favorite Yankees. And I'm not a Yankee fan.
As a Red Sox fan.
Yeah. But right. Jeter and Rivera.
I mean, how do you not dis? And Hideki Matsui, Godzilla. He's my other favorite Yankee. I love him. He's one of my favorites back in the day. But I mean, what are you even doing out here? Do you even watch baseball?
Yeah.
Are you even watching?
Either that, bud, or what they're doing is just like you just said. He has a stiff because it's Derek Jeter. I don't want to vote him.
He's a hater. He's a hater. That's all he is a hater.
He's a hater.
Absolutely.
Just a hater, and that's all there is to it. He's just a hater. Pure, unadulterated hater.
Yeah. Well, guys, let's look at the awards that were handed out. They handed out Rookie of the Year went to Justin Hubert, which I can't argue with that.
I can't. How do you argue? I mean, he came in, he played he started, 10, 13 games?
Yeah, he also won Offensive Rookie of the Year as well. So he won overall Rookie of the Year.
Kid's got a tremendous upset. I was hesitant. I was skeptical about him going into the year. But I thought, they got Taylor. He's gonna, sit on the bench for a year or two, see what Tyrod Taylor could do, and he's gonna get a chance to start. And then he got screwed by his training staff, and Hubert hasn't looked back since. So, right, that's the right call.
Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald, which I can't argue with that either.
There's a case to be made for T.J. Watt in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
If you purely look on the numbers, Watt had a better year, but other people will argue that Watt had a better year because that Donald was getting double and triple teamed all year.
Okay. Offensive Player of the Year was Derrick Henry, which again is no shocker. Since if you try to get in front of him, he'll run you over. As we saw that this year. Defensive Rookie of the Year was Chase Young. I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Chase Young. Let's see. Art Rooney's of the Year award went to Teddy Bridgewater. Okay. Go ahead.
Speaking of Teddy Bridgewater, I heard a report that the Lions were offered Bridgewater the 8th overall pick and a fifth round pick for Matthew Stafford.
You turned it down.
And they turned it down in favor of the Rams package, which was a much better deal. I got to give the Lions front office, for the first time in 20 years, kudos for not botching the hell out of it like they have for the last 20 years.
Yes.
It's really hard for me to restrain my language. So I'm doing my best here.
Yeah.
Comeback player of the year obviously is Alex Smith. I think we're that.
Okay.
No question.
I want to get you guys an opinion on this.
Yeah.
Do you think that they should change the comeback player award to the Alex Smith comeback player of the year award? Should they rename it?
I wouldn't mind that at all. I would not mind that.
No, not at all.
Not when the guy had 17 surgeries on his leg to save his life.
And not only 7, he had a broken leg. Then he had he had an infection that nearly cost. The doctors were telling him, first, you have a broken leg. Second, you're probably never going to walk again, or you'll be assisted. Then he starts having surgeries. That's like 4 or 5 surgeries. Then necrosis sets in, and all of his flesh dies. And they have to cut all the dead flesh away, pray to God that it heals properly, repair his leg, put it all back together, 13 months of rehab, just to be able to walk properly. I know the agony of a broken foot. I can't imagine the mental strain that it takes on you to do 13 or 14 or 15 months of rehab just to be able to walk. We're not talking about running, jumping, playing football. We're talking about walking properly.
Yeah.
Goes through all of that. Gets the clear from the doctors to go start training. Goes and trains. Not only does he train, but he makes the team. Makes the roster. Dwayne Haskins decides to be a bomb. And kind of torpedoes his own career.
Hey,
then,
your deal, by the way.
Yeah.
Back up. Got a 2-year contract.
I thought it was 1 year.
Oh, he got 2.
Did he get 2? I read 1. So anyway, so after he torpedoes his own career, then Case Keenum gets hurt, and here comes Alex Smith. Back on the field. Can I say any more times before it loses all meaning?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind at all. I think if anyone deserved it more than him, you tell me throughout the history of the National Football League, the one guy that deserved that award more than him.
No.
After what he went through. So, yeah, kudos to him, and I'm happy to see him back. Obviously, he didn't play in the wild card game against the Bucs. So, but like I said, that game was a lot closer than I think a lot of people thought it was going to be.
I thought it was going to be a nail biter. I had that as the most likely upset of Week 1 of the playoffs. I had that as the most likely upset. However, I still picked Tampa Bay to win. I was like, okay, Tampa Bay's going to win this game, but you watch. This is the most likely game to be an upset.
Yeah. The assistant coach of the year went to Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator Brian DeBall. I don't know who he is, but he won offense. I
don't recognize the name.
Coach of the year went to Kevin Stefanski, which I'm not surprised. The Browns were in the playoff streak. They won their first play. Guys, I really honestly could say this. Wouldn't it have been funny if it would have been them against the Bucs in the Super Bowl? How cool would it have been to see Cleveland and Tampa Bay, who had long playoff droughts and then they meet in the Super Bowl to win it all.
It would have been incredible. It would have been a better game. Cleveland would have given Tampa Bay a much better game.
With Baker Mayfield,
and a healthy offensive line. Yeah.
Yes.
And
that really killed Kansas City was the fact that they're.
Well, you have Nick Chubb and
Kareem Hunt.
Cleveland, Kareem Hunt. So that would have been interesting running game.
Very interesting.
All right, and then of course the MVP again is no surprise. That's Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, well deserved. He earned that. I can't think of anybody who was more deserving of the MVP. I mean, it's the most valuable player in the regular season. I mean,
do you know, guys? I know a Packers fan, and I told her that, and she said, "There's no way." I go, "The guy threw 48 touchdown passes this year. What?
yeah,
what?
on 6 interceptions?
Yeah, the least amount. What did he throw? Like single-digit interceptions this year?
I think so. 9, 6, 7, something like that. Yeah.
I think he only threw 7 this year.
Right. Of course, he threw 3 of them to Tampa Bay.
Well, yeah, that was the bad part. The 2 games he played against the Bucs were bad. He was sacked 10 times in the 2 games.
He had 7 interceptions or 6 interceptions.
Bad. It was
and looked bad. And it was funny. I was thinking about the fact that when I picked Tampa Bay to beat the Saints, Lewis gave me a face. He went, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm on Tampa Bay." And I, of course, now that hindsight's 2020, I of course would have picked Tampa Bay to win the Super Bowl. But no, honestly, I had a real nail biter. I had it right down to the wire. I had Tampa Bay by a field goal. I had it 34-31 all weekend. And I can tell you genuinely,
boy, were we all wrong on that one.
I think I had it 38-31 or something like that. The Bucs. That's what I would think.
And before the game, would you have gone with Kansas City or Tampa Bay, Lou?
Yeah, I mean, I had a high scoring as well.
Yeah, who'd you have winning it?
And didn't come close to it at all.
Who'd you have winning it?
I had actually Kansas City winning it.
You picked against Tampa Bay every week.
And they ended up come back to bite it. Yep.
Yeah. Go figure.
That's TB12 magic. I will say,
yeah.
The one thing that I didn't like the holding call was weak, and the second PI, I thought that ball should have been rolled uncatchable, but the Evans PI was PI all the way. That was sick. In my opinion, the way I saw it, Evans was going to walk in for a score. That ball was just laid out there perfectly for him. All he had to do was reach up there and catch it, and he was going to walk in for his score.
Yeah.
And the offsides was offside. I mean, you can't argue that. He was offside. And then, and a lot of the things that went wrong for Kansas City was the fact that they just didn't have their offensive line.
I agree.
So.
I agree with that. I agree that, again, the Chiefs fans are going to point and say that it was the referee's decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely,
I mean, in a game like that, let him play, all right? I mean, that's right.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I mean, unless it's egregious, if it's obvious and blatant, you can't. There was a couple of calls there that got flagged. I think there was a holding call on Kansas City's offense. I mean, he had his arm around his throat. I mean, what are you gonna do? You can't. You kind of, he had him like that. I mean, you're gonna just ignore that. I mean, that's asking for trouble.
Well, some you do, but
you start. There's certain calls.
Yeah.
Like the holding. I would have let that go. I wouldn't have thrown that flag. I would have been like, all right, well, I might have gone over to him and said, hey, watch that. Do it again. I'm gonna throw the flag. Yeah. And maybe he did, because I know sometimes the referees will, they'll let it go for a little while and they'll come up and be like, hey, check yourself, do that again, and we're gonna have to flag you. And so maybe that's what happened. So I don't know. I wasn't in the referee huddle.
Right.
Well, gentlemen, if you want to wrap it up there, you guys want to have? Do you have any final thoughts that you want to say before we call it a show? I'll leave the floor to you guys.
Okay. Anything?
I think I'm good tonight. I got everything out that I wanted to get out.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to say, again, this was the first podcast. Again, the first time I had this show without my mom being here. Monday was interesting because, again, I didn't have anyone to talk to. So this show was a little bit more easier to go through Monday with not having any co-hosts. or any guests on the show, it was, kind of interesting to go through it. But again, I am, donating. I'm leaving all the all the shows I do from here on out are going to be in her memory. Obviously, it's going to be. I have some rough days ahead of me, but I appreciate you guys getting in contact with me, both of you, through the whole process. So I appreciate that, and everyone else out there that listens to the show. Thank you for absolutely all the heartfelt, condolences and prayers and thoughts. But again, guys, I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not one of. For her, she would have wanted it, Lewis. She would have wanted me to keep doing this. This is something that she knew that I love doing every week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm. Like I said, guys, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm gonna get back to work. Doing this weekly. Getting the show. I'll be here next Thursday. I'm not going anywhere. It has been nice to work from home this week. Again, I'll be back in the office next week, so it'll be a little bit more difficult to get things together, but I'll get it all together for us when it comes that time. But with that, guys,
it's also a rough week in the sports world too, because we lost two, I should say, iconic figures. We lost. Well, no, I did just this past week. We lost Marty Schottenheimer on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And, Leon and boxer Leon Spinks over the weekend.
Yeah.
The show ended.
And Pedro Gomez.
Gomez.
Yeah, the writer for ESPN.
Yeah, he was I used to watch him when on ESPN or read his stuff. He was on. I think he was on Real Sports with Brian Gumbel every once in a while too. He was on that show too.
Yeah.
So he'll be missed. That'll be definitely a writer that'll be missed. All right, guys. Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and read my sponsorships here. We can get out of here. Again, guys, if you thank you for go ahead.
Just Conor McGregor. We didn't even get into that.
Oh yeah, that he lost.
I told you to put $100 on the other guy.
Yeah.
I told you to put 100.
Wow.
I said I like that bet. So I put $100 on the other guy. I like that bet. The odds are in his favor. I should have put $100 on him.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Well, now his future is definitely out there to find out what his next fight will be. Hopefully it'll be Diaz. I'm sure Matt Diaz wants to get his hands on him in that third fight.
Nate
Diaz. I'm sorry. Yeah. Diaz would love to get his hands on it. Yeah. So, all right, guys. So, again, thank you. This has been the Walker Report. It's part of In the Zone Sports Talk Radio. If you want to get some In the Zone gear, head over to squatlocker.com and type in the Zone Sports Talk Radio to order your gear. If any of the female fans out there are watching, you can order that for your loved one for for Valentine's Day.
Or Halloween. Gonna get started early on it.
Yeah, you could.
Again, guys, I'm also sponsored by CreatingZenSpaces.com. It's the local choice in St. Petersburg, Florida for house cleaning organization, decluttering, and pet sitting. It's about finding the peace within you and adding comfort to your life. And remember, guys, Zen Spaces begins with you. Be kind to yourself and one another. And again, guys, if you didn't catch the show in its entirety here on Facebook, it will be on my YouTube channel, The Sports Nerd Bradley Walker. So head on over there. And again, the Walker Report and Sunshine State Sports Jabber are all over there in their entirety. Well, gentlemen, I again appreciate all of the thoughts and prayers. Thank you guys for making this show kick-ass. It's been great coming back on the air with you guys this week. Like I said, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, so I'll be back here, guys, next week. Everyone out there, stay safe, wear your mask. Thanks to all of the first responders, doctors, and nurses that have been fighting COVID since last year. You guys are the true heroes, definitely. And again, the nurses and doctors that took care of my mom before she passed away was awesome. To the police, to our men and women of our armed services, both active, retired, and the ones who have left us. You guys, without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this, this week, or, be able to be as one of the local broadcasters here in Tampa. We don't allow to be idiots on the radio for all week long, so we can be here and talk and all that. Yep. To the police officers, firefighters, and paramedics, thank you for your help domestically, guys. We all love you. Hopefully, everyone out there. Thank you for dropping in the 2 hours that you come in here and listen to us talk. Until next week, gentlemen, I'll see you guys in a week. You guys, talk to me. I'll message you if I need to talk. But until then, guys, everyone have a good night. Peace.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night,
Bye,
guys.
guys.